unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxingego Unpacked. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Bob Arum repels the notion that somebody's going to pay Deontay Wilder and KUBRAT PULEV step aside money to allow for Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua. What up, fight world? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Before I get started, a couple of announcements. Head over to Patreon and sign up. New tier system revamped. I'm going to be shifting and doing some different things over there, so you guys don't want to miss out. Or you can become a YouTube channel member. Hit the join button right by the subscribe button, and the perks are going to be really the same between the Patreon family and the YouTube channel membership. But I got a lot of stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it. It should be a good time, and I can't say too much, but I've been working behind the scenes on some stuff. Now, the other issue is ESPN Plus, link in the description. Shout out to everybody that used my link for UFC 249. Appreciate it. Helps the channel. When you guys click on that link, ESPN has a lot of content, people. Right now, people are stuck at home, quarantined, need something to do, need something to watch. ESPN got you covered. Ton of original shows, exclusive, docuseries, behind the scenes, etc. Or if you don't want to just get ESPN Plus as a standalone, you can get ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. 3 apps, all 3 of those apps, $12.99 a month. And again, it helps the channel when you guys click on that link. Holla at me and let me know. I personally have all 3 and I use it. Let's get it. Now, Bob Arum has talked about the whole Wilder versus Fury 3, PULEV, and Joshua fight as well. Here's what the top-ranked founder Arum had to say in a recent interview with Sirius XM Radio, hosted by Jerry Cooney. Bob Arum, in reference to the notion of a possible 2 fighters stepping aside, Deontay, the Bron Bomber Wilder, WBC champion of the world, ex-champion, I'm so frustrated, and KUBRAT PULEV, Bob Arum says this: to talk about paying Wilder or paying PULEV step aside money is at this point ludicrous. I mean, we are not the United States Mint that can just print money and distribute it, $2 trillion or, money hard to imagine. We can't just do that. Who's gonna pay this step aside money? I mean, where's it coming from? It's nice to say, hey, pay step aside money. Who the hell is gonna pay? Who the hell is gonna pay it, right? So, let's look forward to a Fury versus Wilder fight and a Joshua versus PULEV fight. End quote. He goes on to say, look, Deontay Wilder gave Tyson Fury 2 opportunities for the title, and we don't forget that. One, he selected Fury for the fight that was in Los Angeles way back. I covered it. I was there December 2018. And then after it was a draw, I thought Fury won, but they called it a draw. He signed on to give Fury a second shot, which was the fight in February in Las Vegas. We also have a contract with the Wilder people, which guarantees him a 3rd fight. So what we're thinking is to do that fight. We're making plans on it and how to do it. It would certainly not be until sometime in the 4th quarter of this year. And we will do that fight because I think it's a good fight. You also have to allow Wilder the opportunity to come up with a plan to neutralize Fury, which he says he's working on. And I think it'll be a big attraction. If Fury wins that fight, and if Joshua has a fight with another fighter of mine, KUBRAT PULEV, the Bulgarian, if Joshua wins that fight, then a Fury versus Joshua fight would be delayed until next year, right? He says, I think PULEV is going to beat Joshua, frankly. Yeah, I really do. I think Joshua's really spent. I mean, look at Andy Ruiz. He's a good kid, and he fought most of his fights with us. But the fact that he could knock you out says volumes about Joshua and the rematch that they had. I mean, that doesn't count. Ruiz wasn't in any kind of shape. He came in fat, and Joshua was reluctant to engage with him. So I really think PULEV, who's a big, tough Bulgarian, is going to get into Joshua and knock Joshua out, end quote. Boom. You know, I might just change the name of my channel from Boxingego to Mr. I Told You So, because Mr. I Told You So is back, and I told you so. Bob Arum is literally saying exactly what I have said on my channel regarding this whole Joshua Fury. I don't know why, and I know a lot of the energy is from the UK and the British fight fans and stuff like that. I have no idea why you would even want to put yourself through this and play the little games and the charades and listen to Eddie Hearn in matters relating to things that it's beyond just his control. Meaning, if Fury versus Joshua if that were to happen, that's not something that's going to happen just on his watch. It's not like 2 rematch room fighters and you're just putting it together. So, you know, I thought it was ludicrous, using Bob Arum's word, right? Ludicrous that Eddie Hearn is going around telling people that, oh, nobody wants to see Wilder versus Fury 3, and move over Wilder, step aside, we'll pay you some step aside money, and we'll make the fight with Joshua Fury. Yeah. Man, like I said, DAZN and DAZN's entities, a lot of them are clout chasing. 2 words, clout chasing. And the reason I say clout chasing is when you say a bunch of stuff and you're saying it for the notoriety and to hype people up and get people whatever excited or whatever you're trying to do, and you know good and well that you've really made no progress. That's a extension of clout chasing to me, because you're really vastly talking about something that you know has no legs at the moment. You know, like let's just say, I'll give you guys an analogy. I'm the king of analogies. So let's say we all work together. I used to work at Lowe's, so we'll put it at Lowe's. We all work together at Lowe's. Now, at Lowe's, there's a lot of employees. So let's say there's this coworker that everybody likes. She's a beautiful woman, you know, beautiful smell, voice, hair, body, banging, right? And people start asking me like, oh, did you go on a date with her, or did you have sex with her, things like that. And I'm playing games knowing I haven't, and I'm still like trying to entertain and engage and be on the fence when I know in my heart that me and the girl have never done anything. You see what I'm saying? You're not, if you're real about yours, you're not gonna want to perpetrate, you know, and make it look like if you smash, you smash. That's it, you know. But you're not gonna make it, you know, make people believe and speculate and stuff like that. If you're gonna talk and just like, you know, when people make their face like, oh, I don't know. So, hey man, did you hit Tina? Did you take that down? And then you just looking all like, I don't know. When you know you didn't do it, you know what I'm saying? That all that type of stuff is clout chasing. That's clout chasing because you know you're not about what you say you about. Now back to this boxing thing. You know, Eddie Hearn and Joshua, they keep telling you all these plans for all these fights, but when are they happening? You know, oh yeah, Andrade, you know, he really wants to fight Charlo. It's a massive fight. We offered Charlo massive money. And look at this email I sent Charlo in December, at like a day after he had just knocked out the other dude that fought Jaime Munguia, Dennis Hogan. You know what I mean? Who cares about this email and stuff like that? And then at the time, Andrade already had a scheduled fight, his last fight, that is Lucas Keeler. You know, I ain't a killer, but don't push me. So it looks real sad, man. It looks sad because I feel like nobody should be this thirsty for headlines and all in the video dancing and just to be the center of attention, and knowing this stuff ain't gonna be, it's not likely. And like I said, Mr. I Told You So, Bob Arum is telling you literally what I said. He said Wilder Fury 3 is a good fight still. That's exactly what I said. Let Eddie Hearn tell it, and all the Eddie Hearn, the idiots, you know, the man fans, let them tell it, they'll say, oh, nobody wants to see that. But you know, post-pandemic, when Wilder fights Fury for a third fight, it's going to be one of the biggest fights for that month, or for, you know, for the year, or whatever you want to call it. It's going to be a big attraction. And I think it'll be bigger than the first two, because it's really, for the first time, we're seeing Wilder step in as a challenger since the Bermain-Stavern first fight. Wilder lost his belt. We got to see, this man has nuclear power. We got to see how he looks. Because if he just comes and just explodes something on Tyson Fury's face, Fury's out of here. You see what I'm saying? So it's a very compelling fight, which is what Bob Arum's telling you, which is what I've been telling you, you know. But once again, you guys choose to listen to Eddie Hearn and all this and that, and oh yeah, Joshua and Fury, we might do it in the UK, but it'd be massive in Saudi Arabia. Well, guess what? Joshua got to beat Pulev, and Wilder got to lose again to Tyson Fury. And I told you guys, in the world of boxing or combat sports in general, these are some big ifs. You don't know what the hell will happen in a rematch in combat sports. Look at even UFC. Daniel Cormier, right? The way the first fight looked with DC Cormier, you know, Daniel Cormier, and Stipe Miocic, it looked bad. It looked like the rematch was going to go, some people to the point they didn't even want to see the rematch. But DC, who's been in there with the best of them, John Jones and Rumble Johnson, you know, he's been in there with all of them. He ends up getting stunned and stopped and hurt to the body and losing to a guy he had already beaten. You know, Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz. First fight was competitive, but he got submitted. He got hurt first, and then he tried to take Nate down, knowing he don't have better jiu-jitsu skills than Nate and better ground game than Nate, and then Nate finished him. You know, second fight was close too, but they gave it to Conor. But that's what I'm saying. Joshua Ruiz too. For whatever reason, Ruiz lost his belts. So you never know what's going to happen, and especially in the heavyweight division. So I think Wilder Fury is going to be an excellent fight, and we'll see. Either Fury has his number, he has Wilder's number, or Wilder is going to blast Fury's head off his shoulders. You know, and maybe this was the wake-up call he needs. And like Bob Arum is saying, you cannot rob the fighter of that opportunity. Literally, Bob Arum is telling you what I've been saying on my channel well before he did this interview. Man, I must be the greatest. Muhammad Ali, I must be the greatest. Rumble, young man, rumble. I must be the greatest when it comes to this boxing talk. TBE. I'm TBEgo, motherfucker. I got to be the greatest, you know? You keep hearing it. Bob Arum's telling you same, literally almost verbatim. You could just take Bob Arum's voice and persona and match it with my videos, and it would sound, at least on this, not with everything, I'm just saying with this given subject. He also said, in addition to the Wilder Fury 3 being a good fight, he said, where are we going to get step aside money? Where's this coming from? Like Eddie Hearn talks like, you know, like he just made so much money and they have money to just spend. But Bob Arum, you know, we don't always agree with what Bob Arum says, but at the end of the day, I agree with what he's saying here. He's like, this ain't the Treasury Department, you know, stimulus, economic relief package where they just want to lose money. You're paying two guys money to stay at home and just to sit idly while you have another fight. You know, that's just a waste of money. You know, where you could just use that for another car, you could just wait, you know, and then and somebody else gets the profit off of that. You just paying, and whatever you have to pay Wilder, he could fight Fury in a third fight, win, lose, or draw. He's getting a pay-per-view back in check as well as a salary. So there's no amount that you can really give him that's going to match a lucrative fight, a big blockbuster event with pay-per-view proceeds that'll probably do better than the first two because of the drama. And, you know, Tyson Fury had Glovegate and, you know, all this stuff. Tyson Fury beat Wilder, and Wilder said he was a zombie, and the suit excuse, you know, all this stuff is going to equate to a bigger fight, right? So there's no amount that you would even be able to pay Deontay Wilder that would make that acceptable for him to just want to bow down. And that's not even including and encompassing the fact that Wilder, as a human, as a fighter and a guy with heart, wants to get something that was lost. He wants to get that respect back. He wants to get that belt back. And he wants to prove something to himself, his family, his fans, and the world that he can beat Fury, you know? So you can't put no price tag on that. So once again, Eddie Hearn, Anthony Joshua, what they were talking about, making it look like the Fury fight was a possible, oh yeah, we're ready to go to undisputed straight away. You know, it was all cap. It was all cap. You're not ready because the logistics don't make sense. And that's just with Wilder. We're not even talking about a 40-year-old Bulgarian named KUBRAT PULEV, who's the mandatory, and you have Usyk, who's the mandatory, waiting for a chance at the Joshua belts, right? It's just too much. So you're going to push. Just listen to this. Let's say, I don't know why. I don't even know I'm on this track. I'm going to let the Outlaws ride on y'all. But just listen to this real quick. Let's say Eddie Hearn wasn't capping, and they made Fury versus Joshua, let's say, Saudi Arabia, and they convinced Wilder to step aside, and PULEV, two guys who said they're not stepping aside, right? Who they're on record saying they're not stepping aside. They don't know what Eddie Hearn talked about, but that's not that. But let's just pretend that they were willing to step aside, both of them. Pretend that Saudi Arabia investors, they had a lot of site fee, and you know they were ready to get this fight going, right? How do you have two people who you've made step aside that were going to get a title fight? You know, Wilder, title fight with Fury. KUBRAT PULEV, mandatory title shot against Joshua. How do you make the winner of Fury versus Joshua? This is all hypothetical now. How do you make the winner of Joshua versus Fury fight for their, because they'll be the end all be all in the heavyweight division with all the belts undisputed, whoever wins in this mythical Joshua Fury fight. So you promised two people to step aside, right? To take money to not fight, so to get out of your way. So who gets the shot? Who gets the shot at all the undisputed titles? Would it be KUBRAT PULEV or would it be Deontay Wilder? So again, this doesn't make sense. Joshua Fury, if it happened next, would be for undisputed. That means the winner of that fight would have all of the belts. You've made two separate guys with two separate promoters and two separate programs step aside. So you can't even promise that Joshua Fury winner will be given to two separate people, because you can't. You know, is one winner and you still got two guys to appease. So it just don't make sense. They might as well just Joshua knock out his mandatory that nobody wants to see. Bob Arum's confident that PULEV will knock him out. And then Wilder Fury 3. And then you talk about everything else. Plus, like I said, with this whole pandemic, that has created a situation where we don't know a lot of stuff about what's going on in boxing in the foreseeable future. So it's just, this is a bad look. Another strike for Eddie Hearn and Joshua, constantly talking about a fight that doesn't manifest. Charlo and Andrade, Wilder and Dillian White and Andy Ruiz, AJ and White, AJ and Wilder, AJ and Fury. You know, none of these fights are happening. It's just, let's just keep talking about it, and you know, I guess make the fans excited for no reason. And I guess the UK likes this. I don't really know, but Bob Arum set the record straight. He said there will be no stepping aside. Who's gonna even come up with that type of money, like where you just pay somebody a couple million to stay at home? Like, who has money like that? You know what I mean? As a business, you know, instead of somebody pocketing that or putting it towards promotion or your undercard or something, you're just gonna throw it away to two fighters to step aside, and then you got to promise those two fighters that they'll get the winner. And then beyond that, Joshua Fury, wouldn't there be a rematch clause in that fight? So how's Wilder or PULEV get the winner of that fight if there's probably a rematch clause, because they're both champions? You know what I'm saying? So I knew this wouldn't happen, and you know, Bob Arum's all but confirming it. Let me know what you guys think. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Also, holla at the Patreon, YouTube channel member, ESPN Plus links. I promise you we working. As always, Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego. Signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.